Hey, quite a while ago, I beat Thanos Tower, finishing rank 1, but just now I thought of a way I could use it for your enjoyment. I'm your tour guide, Hexium, the official EToH businessman, and let me take you through a safari filled with horrid towers, cult classics, and some interesting takes as well. This is the honest review of Ring 1. Before we get started, I would like to mention the immense support my last video got. Not only has it gotten 12k views, but it has also quadrupled my sub count, not to mention the support in the comments. Seriously, this has been the most insane experience of my life. I'm sorry for not getting this video out sooner. I was grinding TOCR and got sidetracked. I don't even want to get into it. I have 40 hours of playtime, 25 full runs, and no net runs. It's rough. Thank you yet again for the support on this channel, and I hope you enjoy this series. The tower that everyone should do as their first, and the tower with the most victors. Yeah, being the first accessible tower in the game isn't an excuse for god-awful teaching skills and borderline terrible gameplay. This tower's sole purpose is to teach players about obbying skills that are probably already taught to them in some fat paps obby. From the insanely boring gameplay to the indication offered by the science, this tower does almost nothing right. The only good thing I can think of is that there's a ton of skips in it, making it a good speedrunning tower. Also, there's supposed to be a revamp for this tower for like 3 years, and it just never happened because Duke decided to not release it. Thank the living stars for Ring 0? Zero? Are we that unoriginal? Just call it Purgatorio. How would there ever be a Ring 0? Yeah, I kinda didn't like the fact that it was called Ring 0 and started ranting about it. Basically, my point was that the name Purgatorio ties into Purgatory, being the state in between death and the afterlife, but Ring 0 made no sense to me as an attribute to a name. Plus, it did bring a good point, however, in that Dante's Inferno, which is what the Great Inferno is based on, could possibly include a Ring 0 as a sort of purgatory state. That's just my opinion though, so now that we're done here, let's move on. Holy, I mean, is there anything to say that hasn't already been said? It's just boring walking simulator mixed in with a funny Kilbert maze, and wow, high jumps, my favorite, especially when they're copy-pasted for an entire floor. My main source of criticism for this tower is it's just so unbelievably boring. You have walking here, effortless jumps there, a whole floor that's just a weird maze sort of thing, and a random intense difficulty jump right at the end. A random 4-year-old with a snot-covered iPad can muster up a better tower than this purely based off the fact that this seems like something a 4-year-old could have made. Oberon was really putting anything into towers back then. Since I don't have anything original left to say, just see my rating and let's move on to the next tower. Okay, so this review would be wildly different if it hadn't gotten revamped a while ago. So, with this tower being revamped, this might be the best tower in Ring 1. It has super fun classic gameplay, and it's not boring at all. Practically every part with boring gameplay has been changed to have real jumps with actual difficulty, even though the difficulty is medium. They changed the entirety of Floor 5 to have gameplay on top of the poles that go across the frame, making it a lot less jank. They also decided to completely revamp Floor 9 and 10, adding some quite fun gameplay on top of the wedges, also making the rest of the gameplay in this tower netted and super beginner friendly. There's also this cool gimmick on Floor 7 with this X-pusher platform. Overall, this is the perfect example of a classic tower in my opinion. It genuinely has the most fun gameplay in Ring 1, doesn't get boring for people who have already beat harder towers, and is super good for first timers. Kudos to you guys. This tower was made for the Legacy event, and it was named Tower of Infuriation. I guess someone on the staff team thought this would make a good Ring 1 tower, and they were right. This is the most recently added tower for Ring 1 excluding revamps, and it fits in really well. This tower is based on Tower of Anger in the Legacy event, and that may seem like a bad thing, but the walking sim has wraparounds, kill bricks, and even conveyors to speed things up, making it not boring and overall improving the entirety of Ring 1. It serves as a good bridge between Tower of Madness and Tower of Heck, and is overall just a fun tower. It's very true to the Ring 1 style, but that doesn't mean it's bad. In fact, I think that it helps this tower excel with how good it does the Ring 1 style. I enjoyed it in the Legacy event, so you will too. The first tower ever added. Where to begin? Yeah, I'm not gonna sugarcoat it. This tower really isn't that great. There's some good gameplay, but most of it is what you would expect coming out of the first tower. There are many sections that are just flat out unfair and unsight readable, and we're gonna go through them. Note that there would be more sections, but they added better falling platform indications, making the tower a lot better. To start, you have the awkward wrap to a truss on Floor 5, the unmarked conveyor at the start of Floor 6, and the wraps on Floor 7. Afterwards are the worst offenders, which are the slide of floor 8 outside, infamous for the bun-done clip farm, the tie rope on floor 8, and all of the transparent parts on floor 10. These sections can ruin the tower for new players and discourage new players from progressing further. All in all, it's great for a first tower, but compared to today, it's just kinda meh. Keep in mind that I've been playing this game since late 2019, and I played this tower back when it's considered really good. It just doesn't hold up anymore. Tower of Inception, but it's far easier and not much better. The entire frame structure was copied, and even the top part of floor 5 was copied too. This tower is overall a nothing burger. Sure, it's cool that it was the first tower to include tower crossing, at least I think, and I do still remember failing into the GBJ before I was nerfed, and also loop failing the push box for 30 minutes. But aside from that, there's really nothing special. It almost has the same problem as Tower of Anger, where the gameplay is extremely boring, and a good bit of the gameplay is walking simulator. It introduced some cool gimmicks, but it did it in a very sloppy way, like the sections were just slapped on to increase the tower's creativity. This tower is also very rich at kill bricks, fitting in with the tower name with how the kill bricks kill all my joy. The ludicrous amount of kill bricks also ties in with the boringness of the tower, making it so they have to sit and wait to heal numerous times, not to mention the fact that players at the EToH skill level most likely didn't have a healing item. I can't drag this out anymore, so here's my rating. This is definitely a product of its era. Not only is it just kind of mid, but it's also pretty forgettable. In fact, the only stuff I remember are the snakes on floor 3 and the head hitter on floor 10. Yet again, what is there to say that hasn't already been said before? Boring gameplay with slop gimmicks slapped on top to market it as a somewhat creative experience. One thing that ties into the terrible mechanics is the ice platforms on floor 7. Not only are they practically unindicated, but they can be a run ender for many people. Also, putting a question mark on them, like I have to solve some sort of riddle to figure out what they do, is a terrible design choice. I'm pretty sure this was the first tower to have gameplay that has a separate color to the frames, but you could also say that to Tower of Stress, because they were both added in the same update. Sorry, but my keyboard's staying on my desk this time. Speaking of tower stress, here it is. Yet another snooze fest of a tower. Boring copy-paste gameplay with no creativity whatsoever, with random traps thrown in like some mischievous prank. Oh, and of course we have to add an 800 stud long truss. Surely people won't skip it with a couple of wall hops, right? Most people know this, but the music of this tower is the default for the kit, and like Toki, the gameplay for this tower has a different color compared to the frame, besides floor 9 and 10 for some reason. Jeez, I'm running out of stuff to say. Oh yeah, all the jank ladders in this tower that ruined the experience. How could I forget? People really treated trusses like some foreign super virus that they needed to stay away from at all times. Thanks Adabir for the awesome video made on it. We're moving on now. Potentially the worst tower in Ring 1. I say potentially because I'm writing the script right now, and I don't know what the ratings will be until I make them in editing. From the, you guessed it, uninspired, boring gameplay to the random falling platforms placed on the tower like some devious booby traps in an abandoned building, this tower is utter garbage. But Hexium, I hear you say. The tower has 9 floors. Isn't that awesome? I don't care. Oberon's lack of critical thinking skills should not be called creative and experimental ideas that tested what the boundaries of a tower could be at the time. The jumbled mess of the platforms on all the floors throughout the tower just make it even more confusing for new players. It could legitimately leave them lost on where to go. Lame excuse for a tower, and a huge falloff from EToH, which was already okay to begin with. Okay, so this tower isn't too bad. Sure, it has a GBJ, but that is skippable and isn't far into the tower to begin with. There are a ton of spinners in this tower. In fact, you can consider this tower to be the prequel to Tonehead with how many there are. Like seriously, I still don't get why there's so many. There are many creative gimmicks that really did push the benchmark of creativity in towers, leading to more creative towers down the line. Sure, the spiderweb that is floor 10 could be representing the fact that spiderwebs were the only thing inside Oberon's skull while building the floor, but once you know the route, it gets pretty easy. The ice tie rope on floor 3 can be quite the challenge for newer players, but when you get past that, it's kind of just smooth sailing. And I'll end with a quote from my late grandfather. Pretty creative, Candyman. Yet another absolute snooze fest, with boring classic gameplay all throughout it, zero creativity, and annoying difficulty spikes. Although I still don't get how people fail 8 outside, it can be a run ender and especially nerve-wracking in the tower rush. The floor 9 maze is just boring, and floor 10 is just a trutz with a funny insta-kill on it to make it seem somewhat memorable. There's also a whole slew of bad gimmicks, from the finicky pushing platforms on floor 9 to the trip part on floor 2 and the wacky slanted part on floor 6. This tower practically has an infestation of inconsistent mechanics. I mean, it is cool that this tower introduced the idea of collab towers to EToH, and it has influenced many towers in later areas, such as Tower of Expecting the Unexpected in Zone 10, but just like almost every tower here, it's just okay. This tower is fun for no reason at all. Like, the gameplay isn't even fun and it looks atrocious, but wow, it is so fun to play through. I've made tasks of this tower numerous times and every time it's just really fun to play through. I never had many issues with 9 and 10, and I still stand by the fact that the wrap after the 3-stud stick out is harder. Not to mention this tower has a ton of skips. It's still rem though, no one can tell me otherwise. I think the main reason this tower is so good is the fact that all the gameplay flows together really well. You can tell actual effort was put into making the tower fun and hard at the same time, unlike numerous towers of its era. This could be the most fun Ring 1 tower for me just because of the replayability it has. Great work, just for the love of God, learn how to use Gradient Generator. Can't be the classics. Well, you can, but the Citadel is still stupid fun. I don't know why, but I've always found Coles to have really fun gameplay, and also some pretty creative ideas. This tower is also quite punishing and can drop you into the void whenever it just kind of feels like it. That's really the only flaw of the Citadel, where most outsides aren't even over the island, making it extremely nerve-wracking in the tower rush. There is also some difficulty spikes, namely floor 14 and floor 15 outside, both of them containing crazy jumps that far surpass intense, with the floor 15 outside being over the void and a few parts on floor 10, but even then you won't be catching yourself on floor 10 because of the claustrophobic lighting changer, turning any parts below you into darkness and overall just making the outside feel way tighter than it should. Despite all of that, the Citadel is one of the greatest Citadels to ever grace this game in my opinion. And practically everyone should try it, unless you aren't good enough. So, yeah, the joke tower of Ring 1, and the name is still very funny and not dated at all. Yet another boring copy-paste slop tower, but the gimmicks are actually kinda good and not just thrown together for a creativity star like another tower. Floor 2 has a god-awful outside with the world's most sensitive wobbly platforms to ever be added, and Floor 5 is just bad wedge stuff with a super awesome wall hop. While those parts might be bad, the good outweighs it, with some actually fun classic gameplay in the second half and Floor 10 having a really creative gimmick with it, which is way better than memorizing a certain pattern of parts to jump on. The 1x7 stud wrap is objectively harder than any other jump, but in my elite hobbyist opinion, it's really not that bad. This tower used to be placed right next to Tower of True Skill in the Cycle Unsafe area, making it so that new players flock to the tower immediately, birthing the infamous lock shift meme. I honestly don't think this tower needs a revamp past what it's already gotten. The gameplay is simple and, while sometimes boring, can actually be fun at times. Huge shocker for a tower that is literally called Thanos Tower. Is this the world's smallest tower? Let's find out. Ring 1, eh? Not too bad, not too good. Honestly, it was a lot better than I thought it would be, and I do think that this is one of my favorite areas, mostly for nostalgia. There are a few outliers, however. Most notably, Tower of Screen Punching, which got the worst rating out of any tower in this area, and for good reason. Any tower that gets below a 3 out of 10 will be put into the list of Void, a specially selected list for the worst towers in the entirety of the game. So, since Tower of Screen Punching got a score worse than a 3 out of 10, into the list of Void it goes. This was the Honest Area review of Ring 1. Thanks for watching, and see you next time.